Nobody wants to talk about it, even though we're supposed to be mature enough to be able to do so. And there's a lot. Everybody wants to derivate it, wants to metaphorically represent it in some other manner. Let's just talk about it directly. It is not appropriate to expect anybody to be obligated to provide any form of sexual performance in any manner. Human beings are capable of engaging in a variety of processes using our own natural bioenergy. It's one of the reasons we need more education about the capacity to engage with our own biometric data, including as a form of personal individual currency that can be established as something we can trade with and or exchange, including in connection with other people's currencies connected to their biometric data. The technology exists. They're already doing it on one level or another. There's no reason why we can't do it as well. There's no reason why we can't have banks based on our biometric data. There's no reason why we can't develop our own relationships around sharing our biological energy. There's no reason. And there's absolutely no justification for anybody to claim it as theirs, to use or access. Now, if I'm correct, and what I'm discussing now is actually specifically connected to matters of statecraft, including international statecraft. And my understanding is that one of the refusals to verify very important transactions connecting with the points of origin is because the processes by which these transactions occur are done in connection with biometric data and accounts connected to the biometric data and bioenergy of specific people, then this is a matter for authentication at the State Department level in order to acknowledge this. It's not appropriate to tell people in other countries or in the United States that they're obligated to be accessible or to have their biological, biometric, or bioenergetic data made available to government service without compensation and without a variety of other measures that protect them, make sure they're safe in their job function, and that what they're doing is legal and constitutional. Now, if somebody's trying to say that because you might be a foreign affiliate, that you're not entitled to constitutional rights, the question then becomes, well, then what is your association? Because if they're trying to launder money through a domestic organization or a nonprofit organization or even a corporation in another country and use the State Department to cover it up, that qualifies as an act of financial terrorism, especially if they're using your biological or biometric data against your will. Sex terrorism is real. It should not be condoned in any way, shape, or form. That's really all there is to say about it. I don't know who decided they would try to deceive the Supreme Court of the United States in considering this from a First Amendment perspective. Somebody should already have presented a case to the Supreme Court of the United States regarding forced cybernetic enhancement and processes of human test subject experimentation without informed consent. Somebody should have done that. Somebody should also have already brought a case about patterns of racketeering activity attempting to extort people into engaging in acts of prostitution in order to aid and abet illicit financing syndicates. Somebody should already have done that. Somebody should also have already followed up with the Office of Management and Budget to discuss what the President's Commission on using cryptocurrencies to finance the federal budget ended up finding out in 2019 before they tried to implement any measures in 2020. Somebody should already have done those things. I've done what I have, and I support you in saying if somebody expects your biometric or biological data or your bioenergy to be made accessible for a transactional process, especially if it's an international transactional process, then there are means by which They can do so legitimately and legally. The first thing is in starting a contract and getting you to sign a contract with your informed consent and with you in full capacity to negotiate terms that provide for your safety and your needs. If they're trying to use only an exclusive electronic database or an electronic interface, then I will let you know right now. Many of the user agreements they're attempting to implement and have been for the last 2 weeks are about to take them down. It was not acceptable for them to try this. It was not acceptable to think that they could get away with it. You have a right to say no, and you have a right to demand that your rights be respected relative to your contributions to international security and to efforts to countering money laundering and illicit financing of terrorist activities. Understand, every time you stand up for yourself, you're fighting terrorism, even if it's state enabled or state sponsored terrorism.